I describe a process by which we went through and gathered input from producers, and I recognize Ron Foley for his efforts in helping us get that information compiled. Basically what we did was we utilized our advisory boards from the different centers to get some input into the research that we need to be conducting. From there, we developed an outline. We enlisted Ron's help and the assistance of all of the county educators and asked them if they could provide contacts for 5 producers. And then we also asked all of the ag commodity groups for a list of 5 producers. We sent the outline to these producers and asked them to provide additional comment on that. From there, we developed what is in the back of the field-based bulletin, the list of production ag research priorities. And again, at the end of every article, if there's a research project that is addressing one of those production ag research priorities, you'll see the numeral that it refers to. So then you can reference back this specific objective that came as a result of all of the input that we received. So I'd like to contend that, in effect, what we're doing is addressing Wyoming issues. We gathered input from the whole state, and now what we're trying to do is compare what we're actually doing to the demands of the state through the assistance of Ron's help, as well as many others. Other thing that is described in my introduction is that Sheridan is just one of several of our R&D centers. We have one in Powell, I alluded to that already, and then we have one in Lingle. That one is called the James C. Hageman Sustainable Ag Research and Extension Center, so we call that SAREC, if you happen to hear somebody using that term. And then we also consolidated all of our resources in Laramie and created the Laramie Research and Extension Center. The Laramie and SAREC sites are a little different than what we have up in the northern part. The northern part is primarily agronomy and horticulture, whereas down in the southern part of the state, we have livestock that are incorporated into those R&D centers. The focus up here, as you got a flavor for so far, horticulture, viticulture, and then reclamation. Let me describe a little bit, especially since we have Representative Patton here, and I need to recognize the legislature for their generosity recently. You'll see some of the results of their generosity to the university this afternoon. Basically, what has occurred is, over the last few years, we recognized that if we were going to build a horticulture program beyond what we were able to offer in Laramie, we needed a site where we might be able to grow something. Because quite honestly, and I think Karen, you're the horticulturist, you can attest to the fact that it's a little challenging at 7,200 feet to grow a lot of horticultural crops. Sheridan seemed like the most logical location. And so what we did is decided that it would be best to concentrate our efforts on horticulture in a location where it made sense. We had the center resources available to us to begin that. It also requires water and a decent source of water, which we were limited on out here. We used to have 3 wells, one of them went dry, and then we had one that you need to be cautious about how often you use the water because it needs to recharge. So we had a limited water resource here too. What happened was we had a unique opportunity. Whitney Benefits and Sheridan College asked if we'd be interested in partnering with them and use the Adams Ranch that will be part of the presentations this afternoon. Use that Adams Ranch as an additional location for the Research and Extension Center. And we entered that partnership about 18 months ago. Now the generosity of the legislature, bore out with the university's purchase of the Ag Center and the renovation of that center. And this afternoon, you'll get a flavor for what wonderful things resulted at because of the legislature's generosity. So, getting back to the purpose of the R&E Center and the flavor, so we expanded out into the Adams Ranch. The beautiful thing about the Adams Ranch is now we have a source of water. We can conduct horticultural research. We were fortunate enough to still have some irrigation pivots on that location, and so this afternoon you'll hear about some of the forage work that we're doing. But that land also came with some non-cultivated property, so we're able to do some rangeland type of work there. And then if you go back to what you heard here today on the reclamation, one of the things that I didn't mention yet was, in addition to the limited water, we have been using water that resembled coal bed methane. You heard about a project on coal bed methane. Well, that water resembled coal bed methane. It wasn't coal bed methane produced water. It wasn't quite as bad, but it wasn't all that great either. We've been applying that water to our soils out here for a long time. So this gives us an opportunity to do some remediation type work. How do you take care of soils that have been under the application of that poor water quality for a longer period of time? But then, because we don't have a lot of water to irrigate out here, it gives us an opportunity to do, as Christina had described, some work on species that might be suitable for reclamation. And so our purpose for the R&E Center up here is horticulture, viticulture as one of the primary foci, but because of opportunities such as the irrigated ground that we have, forage work, some rangeland work, and then reclamation restoration. So if there's any questions, I'd be more than happy to talk to you about the Ag Experiment Station and some other things that the other centers are doing. Any questions? Okay, if not, I'm going to invite my colleague, Donna Brown, to come up and give you a little bit of an overview of the college student programs and stuff.